Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Niner Sickness Podcast. I am your host, Niner Beto. How's everybody doing on this lovely Saturday evening? Thank you for popping in. Thank you for hanging out with your boy, Niner Sickness, tonight. Truly appreciate each and every one of you. We're going to have a call-in show. You're going to have the opportunity to call in and tell me how you feel about this year. How good can we be? What are you looking forward for training camp? Which battles interest you the most? And what's your thought on the lying of Kyle Shanahan? Because you know he was lying when he was talking about the quarterbacks. We're going to get into that. All of that in just a second, right after this. Let's go. Let's go. Let's get the party started. Make sure to wipe your feet before entering and smash that like button for your boy Niner Sickness. We got Don in the house. Appreciate it. Thank you. Yes, do not forget to hit that like button and wipe your feet. I appreciate that, Don. We got Melissa, my little sis, in the house. How you doing? We got 49ers throwback tonight. What's up, 49ers throwback? Welcome to the show. We got Roberto in the house. Welcome, Roberto. We got Luis Moreno in la casa. We got Jesus M in the house. How you doing, brother? Welcome, welcome. Everyone, welcome. I'm excited for tonight. What's up, Brian, my brother, my neighbor? One hell of a dude, man. Thank you for wiping your feet. Appreciate little sis. You know that I have much love for you. I got my boy Maverick in the house. What's up, Maverick? How are you doing, training camp? Let's see here. Yeah, buddy, Maverick is in the house, baby. I will be going to training camp July 31st and August 1st.
Hell yeah! That's what I'm talking about.
There you go. There you go. That is awesome, bro. That is awesome. So, it's the weekend. We're getting closer to having football on Sundays. Officially, the training camp starts on July 25th, which is my wife's birthday. By the way, I just want to give my baby a shout out, my beautiful wife. Her birthday is July 25th. The Niners open up their camp to the veterans. Everybody should be there. But practice will take place on Wednesday, July 26th. Now, a real quick question to everybody that is tuned in. Will Nick Bosa be all signed up, ready to go by July 25th, which means they only have tomorrow and Monday to get the deal done? Will they have the deal done for Nick Bosa before July 25th? Or will it bleed a little bit into training camp? I want to get your predictions. I want to get you guys' predictions. Will Nick Bosa sign prior to July 25th or a little bit after? Early happy birthday. Feliz cumpleaños, Rene. Appreciate that, Melissa. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Nope. The day of or after the 25th. Okay. All right. Just like Debo was. Now, Debo was a little bit of prima donna, right? Status. He's the one that was very vocal during the offseason, during his contract negotiation. He was like, sign me or trade me, blah, blah, blah. So that extended a little bit further. But Fred Warner, George Kittle, and Nick Bosa have been very quiet when it comes to their contract. We'll see. We shall see. Let's welcome my boy Eric. Eric in the house. How you doing, Eric? He is a Seattle Seahawks fan. Cool dude. Very respectful and very welcomed here on the Niner Sickness Podcast. Make sure to follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. All Niners Sickness. Appreciate that very, very much. So, what position are you guys looking forward? What position are you guys looking forward in seeing? I'm going to go ahead and put the link in the comments. If you want to come on and speak to Niner Sickness, if you want to let me know your thoughts of the Niners going into training camp, feel free to call in and share. How you doing, Laura? We got Laura in the house. How you doing, Laura? Welcome to the channel. So I went ahead and put the link. In there. So make sure to feel free to go and click on it. And make sure if you want to pop in and say hello, you're welcome to say hello. Let's see here. Hey, Eric, how you doing, brother?
How you doing, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Get to hear from you. How's your weekend so far?
It's going pretty well. It's actually very hot, a bit hot up here, or hotter than usual.
A little hot there where you're at, huh?
Yep.
How hot was it today?
I think today it got to like 80s, but we're not used to that quite yet.
Okay, I was gonna say 80. I would love to have 80. We were 110 today.
Ooh, not good.
So I would have loved to take that 80.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Let's see here. Melissa says tight ends and other linebackers, Dre and Fred. All right. So I know you're a Seahawks fan. You're not really a Niners fan, but I appreciate you coming onto the show. What position are you looking forward to see your team do this training camp?
Wide receiver, that's a pretty big one. And also, I would love to see like what the quarterback situation ends up looking like. I'm pretty sure Keno's gonna keep the job, but just see like what the backup quarterback looks like, so that way in case something happens. That way we can kind of have an idea.
Yeah. So how do you think Geno Smith is going to do his second year as a starter under Pete Carroll?
Well, we're gonna find out.
No shit, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I tell you, I was last year whenever we made the trade last year. I was so expecting that we would end up going for Bryce Young or CJ Stroud just because Gino had never proven anything yet to me. And then Gino, not only did he prove himself to me, he proved himself to a lot of people.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he coming into the league, he kind of struggled with the Jets. He
Yep.
struggled wherever he went, and then he found himself behind Russell Wilson
Oh yeah.
and Pete Carroll. And once they felt comfortable with Geno Smith, they went ahead and moved on from Russell. And a lot of people thought that they were crazy moving on, and it seemed like it was the best thing for Seattle. Not only did Geno Smith play better than Russell Wilson, but you got some nice draft picks in return from Denver for Russell Wilson.
That was part of the craziest part about the whole thing was that you're exactly right. We got some good picks, um, especially like, um, wait, do, do we get next year's one too? Or
I think so.
wow,
I know you got excuse my French, but you got a shitload of picks
yeah,
for Russell Wilson. So you guys did
yep,
pretty good right there.
yep,
You guys did pretty good there on Russell Wilson, trading him, getting rid of him, and then giving it to and then letting you cook with Geno Smith.
yeah. I tell you, up until like his the first time his contract was up, I mean, I just thought he was just all this swell guy and all that, and I thought there's no way in the world he's gonna be asking for everything because he knows how important it is. And then he asked for everything, and my dad was like, "What is he doing?" Because I mean, that's kind of where my dad was confused. And then whenever but they had the whole at the last minute he announced that him and Seattle had a deal, and you clearly see him and Sierra in bed together, and I'm thinking, for me that was like the end of it for me. I was so happy we got rid of him.
You were ready to move on, huh?
Yeah, I was. I mean, especially that second, like when he did that little second thing, I'm like, "Geez, Russell, what are you doing?" Yeah,
Exactly.
because
Eric, so before I let you, I have other callers that want to come in. Let me ask you, what do you think your record's going to be, or what do you want your record to be this year for your Seahawks?
I'm thinking that it's gonna be a pretty good record. Of course, we gotta play you guys twice this year. Probably gonna be split right down the middle in that category. We're probably gonna win it in Seattle. You guys are gonna probably win it in San Fran, I would think. Yeah,
Yeah,
probably
I would
just the
definitely
whole
like to win
team.
on Thanksgiving and eat the turkey at your 50-yard line.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be in probably it's to a point where I mean that the tough rivalry, but usually the home team always wins that game. But if I tell you, if Brock Purdy shows up in that game, I don't know what's going to happen because Brock already proved that he can beat Seattle in that tough environment.
Yeah, yeah, it is tough to beat Seattle. Seattle, being under Pete Carroll is not a bad team, and you guys drafted very well. Let's see how they play now. I'm looking forward to it, Eric.
Yes,
Eric,
sir.
it's always a pleasure having you on the show, my friend. You're always
Oh, buddy.
welcome to call on and participate in the comments. You are truly one of the good ones out there in Seattle, my friend.
Oh, thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.
All right, talk to you soon.
Goodbye.
All right, we got Melissa coming in. Hola, little sis. How you doing, Melissa?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Doing great. Just hosting a call-in show. Just trying to get the vibe going. The excitement. Training camp is finally here. We're gonna have something to talk about other than who's going to be the starting quarterback. We're going to have a better idea of who it is. This offseason has been a drag, from minicamp to next week. It's like we as content creators, like, what do we talk about now? Now we're going to have some solid content, hopefully next week to talk about.
It's true.
So what position are you excited to look into watching? I know you mentioned a little bit in the comments, but I want to have you say it to everyone that's listening. What positions got you mostly intrigued?
Uh, well, first off, it's tight end. It
Okay.
can't be anything else but tight end. I'm kind of sick of seeing George Kittle run into the ground being an offensive lineman and just him completely being misused. And I think if there was another like all around tight end, we finally get that like two tight end set thing that we were like promised with Jordan from the football team back in
Yes.
2020, and I've been
Oh,
dying
yeah,
for
yeah. I
that.
remember.
And it's just like as much as I love Charlie Warner's just never gonna be given that opportunity to turn into Ross Dwelly with the hands. So it's just like at this point, I want to like wash my hands kind of with both of them and just like move on and find like that new next tight end.
Yeah, I hear you, Ross Dwally. I'm ready to turn on the next chapter from him. Charlie Warner kind of looked like he was gonna, be doing something. Kind of was pretty good in the blocking, but couldn't catch nothing. Couldn't even catch a cold if he wanted to. But I got a
I
feeling.
also think that
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Melissa.
I also think that it has a lot to do with Jimmy. I mean, even
Interesting.
last year, like he has all that experience with George, and like George and him were never on the same page. It took Jimmy getting hurt for George Kittle to finally get his season taken off. So, as much as you want to like blame the younger player, Jimmy in his hospital balls never really cared about working with people.
That is true. And it's funny, but he is very liked in the locker room by players, and he don't text, he doesn't communicate, and it's like trying to understand or comprehend how is it that everybody loves this guy when this guy so stays away, he doesn't participate in things. I don't know, it blows my mind. But he's not our problem anymore.
I'm not going down that rabbit hole. I will go very Jersey if that rabbit hole goes down, and it's not a pretty sight.
I'm telling you, the Raider. I have a friend of mine. He has a huge following as a Raider content creator, and was it like 2 years ago? He was talking so much smack about Jimmy. The reason the Niners can't win the big one is because of Jimmy G and this and that. Everything you can think of, he said negative about Jimmy G. The other day, I was watching his show, and I had to charm in because this same guy was talking about how the Raiders can benefit from this guy. And I had to turn him in. I'm like, yo, they call him the Raider Bear. I'm like, yo, Raider Bear, you're telling me that Jimmy is going to do for your team what he couldn't do for our team, which is a better team roster wise, better coach, better owner, better GM, better roster, but yet somehow Jimmy String is going to go to Las Vegas, try to stay away from the porn stars, and win you guys a Super Bowl. He don't know what to say. He don't know how to respond. He didn't know I was listening. And I'm like, I saved receipts. You talking all that shit when he was part of the Niners. Now that he's on your team, you're trying to soften the blow. It's not going to happen, my friend. He finally cuffed up and he's like, you know what, bro? You're right. I can't stand that
That's not
Jimmy's
even.
here.
But that's not even the worst part. The worst part is whether he gets his foot fixed or whatever. Their backup plan is Brian Hoyer.
Yeah.
We moved
Yeah.
on from Brian Hoyer because he couldn't win to
They
Jimmy
got,
G, and that's who the Raiders have as their team.
there was 3 quarterbacks that came out of New England. 3 of them. And the best one out of the 3, it's not in Las Vegas. Well, actually he is, but not in the quarterback position. More of an owner's, and I'm talking about Tom Brady. The one that is there is Brian Hoyer and Jimmy G. So good luck, Raiders. Go knock yourself out. You're competing in a division with Patrick Mahomes. What's his name? Justin Herbert, and I think Russell Wilson will have a better year with the new head coach, Sean Payton, there. And you have what? Jimmy Garoppolo? Yeah, Raiders. Go and get about, 5 wins, maybe? And they're excited over there.
Oh my goodness.
You know, their running back, they can't even sign their running back. Jacobs, he's, whether is he going to play? Is he not going to play? So, you know what? The Raiders can have Jimmy. They're going to feel our pain. They're going to feel those struggles that we had. Whether it's Trey or Brock Purdy, we're going to be winning games. And the Raiders are going to sit in and go, man, now I know how the Niner fans felt.
I don't think the Raider fans will ever get it because they still believe that Darren Waller is better than George Kittle. And George Kittle was never going to be up there because he can never stay healthy. But Darren Waller can't stay healthy. Now he's
Now he's a giant.
And yeah, and then they're comparing Max Crosby to Nick Bosa. Like Max probably is way better than Nick Bosa, and it's just like every time I hear a Raider fan talk smack, I want to remember and remind them that Gruden lost that last Battle of the Bay to Nick Mullins on Thursday Night Football.
Oh yeah, made Nick Mullins look like a Hall of Famer. That was so funny. I'll be honest with you though, Melissa. I think Max Crosby, getting the wrong dude mixed up. I like him. I really do. Is he better than Nick Bosa? Probably not. Is he really close? I think he is. I don't know if you knew this. The Niners were going to draft him after Bosa, and they were one draft away to take him, and the Raiders jumped in front of us and took him. Otherwise, Max Crosby would have been a Niner. Imagine him and Nick Bosa together. My goodness. That's one of the reasons why I can't stand the Raiders for doing that. But he is a good player. He's the only player that can play defense on that defensive line. Everyone else that's been there can't until they come to the Niners and they play better. So we're going to see how Farrell does under Chris Kaserik because they totally misused them in Vegas. They used them as a linebacker covering tight ends and running backs where he's more effective as a pure pass rusher with his hands on the ground, his ears pinned back, and I think the Niners are going to use him strictly as a pass rusher. So I expect great things from this kid, opposite of Bosa.
So I have to ask you, what's your position group that you're like waiting to see battle it out?
It is the defensive line, and most firmly it's the right. I want to see Jackson battle it out with battle it because the linebackers are set. Yes, the third linebacker is questionable. Who's going to win that spot? But we always go with more of an extra safety. Now that we have Jair Brown, we're going to probably go three safety sets, meaning the third linebacker won't be on the field as much. So I'm not concerned there. I know Fred Warner and Greenlaw are the two guys there. So it's the D line for me and the offensive line with McKivitz. I want to see how McKivitz does as a right tackle, and I want to see how Drake Jackson handles the starting position as the opposite defensive end of Nick Bosa. That's what I want. Those are the battles that I'm very interested in.
I'm actually looking more forward to like Spencer Burford going up against either like Javon Hargrave or the other guy's interior.
Oh,
I
that's
think
good.
seeing what him and Banks can do in their like second years as starters is going to be really interesting.
The two guards. Yeah, you know what? That's a good point, Melissa. Now that Hargrave is there, because they were always pushing Kinlaw out of the way. So now that Javon, Hargrave is there, he's definitely going to make Burford and Banks better. I don't know if you knew this, but on this last Thursday, Spencer Burford was on my co-host show on
East Coast Red and Gold.
Yeah, he was on there talking football. I just wanted to give a shout out to Jess, Matt, Ty, and Becca for having a great guest. They also had Terradome on there doing his thing. So I just wanted to give them a shout out for bringing in a great host. And this Wednesday, make sure to tune in at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern. They're going to have Jesse Sopolo on there as a guest. You don't want to miss out. So make sure to support their channel. They're doing great things over there.
I actually got to talk to Jesse Sopolo once. I like nearly like became like impossible to talk because it's just I live in Jersey, so I'm surrounded by like Giant players and Jet players and like everything Jersey, and
Yeah.
I love my home state, but to be that close, even though it was over a podcast, to talk to a Niner legend, just it completely like blew my mind. And he's like the sweetest human being ever.
Yeah.
Jesse.
I met him in person. He is a wonderful stand-up guy, very calm. He's not loud. You haven't met him in person, but this dude has a firm handshake. That this guy, I'm telling you, I'm like, okay, you can let it go now. Firm handshake, great guy. Him and I met him. Harris Barton was another guy, and then the one that I really, really like out of the old guys is Bubba Paris, because when I suffered my accident and my wife ran into Bubba Paris,
I remember the story.
Yeah, at Walmart, he came to visit me. My wife was just telling him, "Oh, he's at the Kaiser, not too far from here. He's a big fan of the Niners and you, and he's like, I'll try to visit him." And my wife's like, "Okay," didn't tell me nothing because she didn't want to get my hopes high. And next thing you know, like a couple of days later, my wife goes, "I can't." She had this look on her face. She goes, "You got to visit her." And I looked over, and here comes Big Bubba Paris. and hanged out with me for a few hours there at the hospital. I thought that was so cool. He didn't have to do that. He didn't owe me anything. He did that from the kindness of his heart. So that guy is a stand-up gentleman. They all are. But
Yeah,
I got to meet him in person as well.
I think the nicest player that I ever saw in person. I mean, I didn't see the whole interaction. My dad had to tell me about it, but we used to go to this gym here in Jersey, and they used to train like all the Giant players on the big track at the back. And it was back when Victor Cruz was really big, like after the autobiography, right before he left the Giants, and everybody was in love with him, right?
Yeah.
And the guy was at the juice bar, and all these kids were like dying to get his autograph. And he just like pulls up his hoodie, puts his headphones in, and like completely ignores them all. And it was right before Justin Tuck was traded to the Lions. And the kids were all disappointed and like heartbroken. And there was this big guy who just came over, gave autographs to everybody, took photos with everybody, talked to everybody, even though he knew he was no longer a Giant. But he just like he felt so guilty that these kids were so in love with this one player who just blew them off. Like he took time off his own like day just to make them all smile. And I think players like that, no matter who they are, it just those kind of people they stay with you forever.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They make an impression on you. They make an impression on you. Real quick, if you don't have anywhere to go, Melissa, hang in there for a minute. I'm going to put you on hold. I'm going to bring in Crazy Guy real quick. Let him talk a little bit, and then I'll come back to you. Is that okay?
Absolutely, I'll be here.
All right, hold on. Appreciate that. Let's see here, Mr. Crazy Guy is in the house. What's up, Crazy Guy?
Nothing much, Beto. How you doing?
I'm doing good, bro. Good to welcome to the channel, man. First time you calling in. I see you always in the
Hey,
chat.
real quick, does my voice sound annoying?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay. It's because I've been feeling really insecure about that lately. Well, I am 15, so
No, bro. Listen, you're young. Your voice will. For one, it doesn't sound. I thought it was going to be a higher pitch than because based on what you were commentating on the comments, that's pretty deep. Not deep, but it's deeper than what I thought. So, never have a complex about anything about yourself, man, because you are made uniquely you, the way you're supposed to be made, and you're developing. You're still growing, and just a piece of advice from an old guy. Don't rush in getting old. Trust me. Enjoy every year, every step. I know sometimes when we're younger, we want to be 21. We want to be an adult. But when you get 50 plus years like me, you wish you would have kind of, I wish I would have enjoyed my youth a little bit longer. So enjoy your youth, man. And don't let anyone ever make you feel insecure about anything.
yeah, man, that's what they always tell me.
Yeah, if they don't want to talk to you, listen, people are always going to make fun of somebody. People are always going to name call someone something. People that name call other people names are the ones that are truly insecure. Because if you were secure with yourself, why do you need to make fun of someone else? I never understood making fun of someone for your excitement or for your pleasure. How is it making fun of someone to make you laugh? I never understood that.
Mm-hmm.
You got to respect everyone. Everybody's unique. Everybody's different. Not everybody's is going to be that jock. Not everybody's going to be that popular kid. But just because you're not popular in school doesn't mean you're less than anybody else. Find out what you're good at, young man. Hone into what you're good at and apply to that. Don't let anyone. I'm not saying somebody's doing it, but don't let no one ever tell you you're not good enough, or you're not smart enough, or you're not
Yeah.
popular enough. That's, you know what, when you graduate high school, go into I seen so many people, and I'm not proud of this. I am not proud of it. But I used to make fun of people when I was younger, stupid that I was. And these people are making way more money than I would ever make. They have better security than me. They stayed in school. They didn't party like me. They weren't trying to do drugs like me. They sacrificed. They were what I call the nerds. But those same people are the ones that own businesses that I used to work for growing up. So stay in school, bro. Put your head down and let nobody ever tell you otherwise.
Thanks for the tip, man. All right. Let's talk some football.
Let's talk about your wannabe football team.
Oh, please.
Your I can't beat the Niners in the last 2 years in the postseason.
Oh, please. We beat y'all the year Dak got hurt, and I wasn't really that much into football then, so truly I've never seen the Cowboys beat the Niners, so yeah.
There you go. See, I bet you your brother gave let you have it when the Niners beat the Cowboys.
Yeah, he's a huge Niner fan. He always brags. He made me wear a dirty ass. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that, but he made me wear one of his Brock Purdy jerseys for a week. And if he said that if I took it off, I would have to. God, I forgot. It's so bad. I just don't want to remember anymore. Yeah, but anyway, me being a Cowboys fan, I've always hated the Niners. And you want to know something funny?
What's that?
Yeah, last season, every time the 49ers lost, and with all that, and I know you just talked to me about like bullying and putting people down and stuff like that. Don't do that, but like, I was just playing around. Like, I would always harass like the 49er fans every time the 49ers would lose. I was only playing around though, so I'm not like
Well,
being a bully or
well, no.
anything.
Let me correct something real quick. If there's any confusion, making fun of other fan bases based on the team alone, nothing wrong with that. That's all in the fun. It's when people make things personal. When people attack other people personally, is what I cannot get behind. But making fun, like me, I'll make fun of your team. I'm like, but I'm never going to make fun of you because you're a Cowboy fan. But I'll make sure to make fun of your team to you, but never make it personal. So if you were making fun of Niner fans because we lost, hey, more power to you. I mean, that's the whole part of being a fan, to make fun of other fans, but just make fun of their team, not them. Big difference.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what I do, man. I'm
Yeah,
not making fun of the person they are.
yeah, you're just making fun of their team, and nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that. Nothing wrong with that. I know you call yourself crazy guy, but what is your first name, if you don't mind me asking?
My first name's Jason.
Jason. Well, it's nice to meet you, Jason. Nice to meet you. Looking forward having you in the chat. Looking forward when I have more call-in shows. You're welcome to call in. And during the season, I'm going to be doing a lot of call-in shows. Maybe the week of the Niners and Cowboys, you can probably come on and
Ooh,
talk a little
that'll
bit
be
of
a
Niner.
fun one.
Yeah. So stay plugged into my channel, brother, and do your thing in the comments. And then when the Niners play the Cowboys, I'll bring you on, and we can make a little gentleman's bet. No money, just a gentleman's bet on the game.
Yeah. Well, also, one more question.
Okay.
What brought you into being a 49er fan? Like a player, or it's because your family liked it or something?
My whole family are Raider fans. And so they did introduce me to football, but they tried to get me to become a Raider fan. And I've always been a leader, not a follower. I always been someone that likes to do my own thing. I don't gravitate to the popular things that is happening. I was trying to find my own niche on in my life. So when everybody's like the Raiders, the Raiders, the Raiders, I'm like, nah. I like football. I'm getting into football, but I don't want to follow them as a Raider. So I started looking at the team across the bay at the time, and this is before Joe Montana. This is before Bill Walsh, and I started to watch the team. They were not as great, but I liked the colors, and they were opposite of the Raiders. So I started watching them, and little by little, I became a Niner fan. This was back in 76, and been a fan since. And now all my family that comes from me and my wife, they're all Niner fans. So now we have family that are Raiders and Niners, which is kind of nice. But I became a Niner fan because I wanted to pick a team that was opposite of my family's.
Yeah, sounds like a really nice story and very interesting.
Yep, yep. And by the way, I did pick the better team, for sure. 5 Super Bowls compared to 3, so you can't go wrong with that. All right, Crazy,
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you go. You're always welcome to call in. You're always welcome in my on my lives, bro. Nice to meet you, Jason. Looking forward to continue to see you on my chat. And when I do call-ins, you're always welcome to call in, Jason.
All right. Adios, amigo.
Orale. And hey, by the way, Jason,
Also,
your Cowboys suck. I had to do that. I had to do it. The power of the control. I had to say the Cowboys suck and then cut them off. So Melissa, thank you for calling back. The next caller that calls in, I'm just gonna add them to the chat. I'm just gonna have you as my sidekick until you have to go. Let me know if you have to go. No worries.
I have nowhere to go. Trust me.
All right, so I'm gonna make you my sidekick on the show. So the next person to call, let me bring in a new channel. Hold on, real quick. Let me bring in a new channel so I can put them. Hold on. All right, channel 2. Close that up. All right, so that way when somebody calls in, I can put them on channel 2, and then they can conversate with both of us instead of just putting you on hold. Real quick, everyone, if anybody wants to call in and talk to me and Melissa about the 49ers and training camp that is taking place next week, you want to share your excitement, maybe share your frustration. I want to get your thoughts on the whole Kyle Shanahan talking about the quarterbacks, how they all are not set in stone. It's up for grabs. We know he's been lying. We know he's lying. But I want to hear from you, the viewers. So I put the link in the description if you want to be part of the show. If you just want to say hi to myself or Melissa, you are welcome to say hi. The link is in the comments. What's up, Niner by Nature? It's in the house. Welcome, my friend. How you doing, sir? I got my sister, my other little sister, Dawn, is in the house. Welcome, Dawn. So if you guys want to call in and be part of the show and talk to myself and this lovely lady that I have here, being a psychic with me, come. Don't be shy. Come and say hello. Say hello to your little friend. But Melissa, until we get someone that calls in, who do you? How do you think that Mr. Trey Lance is not what you hope, but what do you think he may look like coming in? You think he might look different, or are you to the point where you're like, you know what, I like Trey, but I'm just going to wait and see what he shows?
Um, I think a lot of players, when they have a certain story about them, they usually have that, oh, I'm going to prove everybody wrong thing. And I usually never believe it. Maybe it's the cynic in me. But for some reason, I just I can't let it go that I really think that Trey's going to come back better and stronger. It's just I fear that injury thing's going to plague him until I can see it kind of get over that hump. It's like the same thing with me and George Kittle for so long. Like every freaking year, I feared the Arizona games, not because I thought Arizona was better than my team. It was just I feared Jimmy Garoppolo having one of those really bad hospital balls and George Kittle getting whacked in the knee by Buda Baker again. Like that was my fear. I couldn't like stop fearing that for like every week until it was over. Like I couldn't catch my breath. So um I
Wow.
want to believe Trey's gonna stay healthy, but at this point, I'm done kind of like getting my hopes up at the same time.
No, I hear you. I hear you. Sometimes when we put our hopes, I always tell people it's always good to have goals, but you have to be rational with your how high you set the bar. You don't want to set it too high where you can't make it and get disappointed, and you don't want to set it too low when you don't give yourself a chance. You want to set it just right, and I can understand with the whole Trey Lance. We've been hearing that he's been, by his training coach, that he looks different. He's going to look better, but we haven't seen that translate into the field during a regular game, and a lot of it because of his injury situation. I'm looking forward. Listen, people that have spoken to me or got to know me, they know that I love Trey Lance. I'm a huge supporter of Trey Lance. I wanted him drafted here. But once I got to see what Brock Purdy did, how he was able to command a huddle, how he was able to make his reads, call in the play, hear the play from Kyle Shanahan in his helmet, translate that to the players without getting penalty of delay of game, how smart he is, how accurate he is, how quick he is to release the ball. All of that was hard for me to unseen. Now, people ask me, who do you prefer, Brock or Trey? And right now, I prefer Brock. Now, if Trey can show me something different, if he can show me the things that Brock does well, of course, Trey's the better quarterback. He has the higher ceiling, the bigger frame, and the stronger arm. There's so many things that Trey can do that Brock does, but Brock can't get taller. He can get a little bit of a stronger arm, but he can't. I always say the only way Brock is going to reach Trey if he goes out there in stilettos and plays in stilettos. That's about the only way he's going to gain some height. But I like the poise of Brock, Melissa. I like the way this kid came in and commanded the huddle. He wasn't nervous. The game did not get too big for him. Not only that, but do you know he has the same number of wins in the playoffs that Dak Prescott does with 2? That's sad for Prescott. He's getting millions and millions of dollars. He's a top 5 quarterback, but he has the same number of wins that our 7th round pick, Mr. Irrelevant, does. And one of those wins is against Prescott. So
That's funny.
all I know is if Trey can come in and really sell out to the coaches, really show that he is the guy of the future, I will back up Trey 100%. I will still love what Brock has done, but I would want him to be that backup. If Trey can convince the coaches and all the Niner fan base that he is the guy that we took at number 3, that we moved up to get. But I have to see it just the way I seen it from Brock. Once I seen what Brock can do, just because he's shorter, just because he doesn't have that strength of an arm, it's not enough for me to look away. I was very impressed the way he commanded the huddle, the way he was accurate with the ball. People don't realize how hard it is to be a quarterback, specifically a first year quarterback as a rookie. You can be Trevor Lawrence coming in, being the first pick overall, and struggle. He struggled. And this guy Brock came in. Yes, he made some mistakes. People always like to point that out. And yes, he has a bad habit of running to his right, but he's a rookie. Every quarterback has bad habits they got to work on. They got to transcend into a better player. So if I can't see any growth from Trey, Melissa, I would have to stick. I am very confident in sticking with Brock Purdy. I know that Kyle Shanahan can win a Super Bowl with Brock Purdy.
You know, I think it's actually bigger than that. I think content creators have kind of like fanned the flames, and I'm not talking about you, and I'm not talking about most of the people I've watched who you've seen me watch. But I think there are certain people who like this whole controversy about how if one of them takes off, then one of them has to be shipped off before the trade deadline. And it's just like, I wish people would just remember how bad the injury bug has been under Shanahan, and they would just accept that both guys are here for this year, and we're lucky to have both of them, because as much as people want to believe that Sam Darnold can be something, I've seen him on the East Coast. It's ugly, and even I would take Sam Darnold if Purdy and Lance were hurt, because I never want to go to the Josh Johnsons or the Brian Hoyers again. Like, you never want that to
Or
be
the
your
Nick
season,
Mullins.
especially in the postseason. Yeah, so I wish that part of it would go away, and everyone telling me that I have to listen to the team, and the team's telling me what's going on. Like, the team's also told me for years that Trent Taylor and Jalen Hurd were healthy and they were to be stars here, and that they were going to be these big time things, and neither one of them could get off their issues. And it's just like, at some
Don't
point,
forget about McKinnon.
you just can't believe what the team's saying. They're meant to be building guys up. They're meant to be pushing guys, whether it's to trade them further down the line, whether it's to do that whole coddle carrot stick thing. It's just like, at the end of the day, whatever brings you comfort and whatever gets you excited for the season, that's great. But I wish people would like kind of respect how people see things, and not like bash them if they don't see it the same way they do. You know?
Exactly. Exactly. Real quick, I wanted to address a question that Niner by Nature 88 brought up. He says, I
Okay.
want to see Brock without CMC and Kittle while running up the middle of the NFL defense. I love Brock as well, but Trey does need to show it. His back is against the wall this year. Now, I understand Brock had CMC and he had Kittle, Debo, Brandon Ayuk, Juice,
Jawan Jennings.
and Jawan Jennings.
Jawan Jennings.
Absolutely. Jawan Jennings. Absolutely. That's one of my guys.
My
I
guy. I fought for him like crazy. Like, I used to get played on a certain Vegas podcast for ever bringing up the name Jawan Jennings.
Yeah, I liked him from Tennessee. He's never been the fast receiver, but he's always had those hands. And I love him because whenever it's 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, you can count on him to make that catch for that first down. And he's a position receiver.
I like that a lot of people love that 3rd and Jawan thing that everyone's pushing now. But what I loved about Jawan Jennings, that probably nobody really pays attention to, is that from the get go, because he didn't play his rookie year in 2020 because he was on the practice squad and then he got hurt, so he was put on, I think, pup list or the IR list. I forget which one. But when he started in 2021, he had that big touchdown, and capitalized when George was like three guys deep in the Eagle territory and had that big touchdown. And I loved from the beginning that like he didn't take for granted anything. You know, he didn't get a big head. He didn't um take advantage or like like not get upset about touches or whatever. And the best thing I thought was like when he went and played Jacksonville, pretty sure it was Jacksonville. He got in that fight. You remember that? And he gave his
Yes.
hands back, he gave his head back. The guy knocked his helmet off, and Jawan didn't like do anything to retaliate. He kept his cool. He
He
knew he
played
had the
smart.
guy. He got the guy ejected, and it's just like I loved also that year we had so many games because he started off so badly. That came into overtime. So whether it was the Rams game or the Bengals game or whatever, Jawan Jennings was like that guy when Jimmy couldn't get past 3 and outs. Jawan Jennings would come up with a big catch. So like when anybody would bring up his like drops or whatever, I was just like, you do realize that Tyreek Hill had drops in the Super Bowl, right? Like Travis Kelce has drops all the time. Like
Oh,
big time
absolutely.
players do stupid stuff where they're trying to body catch and like so people were like, oh, you have to give up on him, and I'm like, no, I really don't. Like this guy is humble, he's hungry, he comes up clutch, and he's just like a joy to watch. Like it's crazy to me that the people are like just dying for him to be shipped out, and it's just I love underdogs. I love when underdogs get to shine and finally get some respect after a while.
Exactly. Exactly.
And
Real quick, I just want to say good night to Niner by Nature. He's leaving us. Good night. And on the same
night, Nick.
tone, I want to welcome Mr. Luis. Lewis is in the house. How you doing, TL? Welcome, welcome, brother. Good to see you, my friend. Thank you for joining the chat tonight. Truly appreciate it. He's a co-host of my girl Mariah on the 49er Faithfully. They do great work over there, man. They're doing some great things over there. Make sure to subscribe to their channel. Show them some love. Show them some love. If anybody wants to come on the show and say hello to me and Melissa, I put the link in the comments. Come and say hi. Let us know how you feel or how you're feeling about next week. What positions are you excited about? Which battles do you think is going to be interesting? What's your thoughts on the whole Kyle Shanahan talking about the quarterbacks? Was he lying? Was he telling the truth? I want to hear it from you guys. But no, I hear you. I like Jawan Jennings. Melissa, he's a fighter, but he's smart. He gets under your skin, but he doesn't retaliate. And that's what I love about him.
He's got a little bit of Kittle in him where he likes rounding people up, but he never goes dirty.
Yes.
And I think that's a very underrated thing where someone can get in someone's head, but he never crosses that line.
Exactly. He doesn't. At least in that game, he hasn't showed a period, but people don't realize how heated you can get in a game, especially if you're losing and there's trash talking out there. Sometimes something can get said and you're not in the right mindset, and you can blow up and lose it. But I have not seen that ever from Jawan Jennings. I've seen him stay cool and collective under pressure, and I like about that. And he's a lot like Kittle. Kittle's the same thing. Kittle gets on people's underneath people's skin, but he never goes over the top, or he's never dirty.
Did you
And I
ever
like that.
watch? Did you ever watch the top 100 from after the 2019 season?
If I did, I don't remember too much, but
Okay, well, they had George Kittle. I think that was the year he made number 7 out of the top 100.
okay.
And the very first person they had interviewed about him was Daniel Hunter from the Vikings.
Yes,
And
okay.
he loses it the first second that the interview starts. He goes, you say the 49ers, I know you're going to bring up that tight end, and then they just like show all the clips of him mic'd up during that divisional game where George was like, rides every day, and like he's calling for them to keep doing the running plays and everything else, and he's like joking and laughing about all the blocking that he was doing. And I just think it's refreshing, in a league where so much has been made about the taunting calls and all this other stuff, that like you get to see that kind of like spark and joy on a football field again.
Exactly, exactly. That's one thing I love about Kittle. I just wish he wasn't as physical because I don't want him to get hurt. But he is who he is, and that's what he does best. And he likes to, he likes to be out there and doing his thing. And he takes pride in blocking more than he does catching the ball. Of course, everybody wants to catch the ball. Everybody wants to yak yards and get touchdowns. But he really takes pride in making that block for like Christian McCaffrey to break loose, or making that block for Debo to break loose and go for a touchdown. And that's what I love about Kittle. And pretty much all our players. There's not a player on here that is for themselves. It's not like it's about me. They really are bought in on this is a team sport. It's about all of us or none of us. And I love that attitude in the locker room. And that's a culture that Kyle and John has invested into this team by bringing in good character players. They made one exception and they learned from it and they moved on and never done it again with Reuben Foster. They took a chance on the ability of a player over his character. It bit him in the ass. And now it's like, you know what? You might not be a great player, but if you have a good character, we will take you over more talent, but bad character. And this is why you have a team that fights for one another, doesn't backstab one another. And this is when you hear the media talking about they don't support Trey Lance, the Kittle and the players. They don't like. I don't understand that. That's just the media.
That has to be the most exhausting and exasperating thing in the world. Because, like, okay, so everyone knows what Quan Alexander and Emmanuel Sanders did for this team.
Yeah.
In 2019, but I think everyone, because it was just so bad back then, kind of forgets where that started. Pierre Garçon was brought in with Alfred Morris because Shaney was bringing in all his Washington guys, and it was Garçon that was like that pro vet thing that was like so used to how things are, that he brought that kind of like winning spirit and that camaraderie that I think this team was lacking for so long after Harbaugh. And I remember every time, and it's still like it gives me chills when George talks about it, when he mentions Garçon, because it's just like he said that Garçon was the one that taught him, Jeff Wilson, and everybody that dark place thing when they go onto the field and they go into that mindset. He was also the one that started the whole culture of the vets taking the balls for the rookies. Like how you can kind of get like swept up in the moment. You kind of forget that this is a huge moment in your life. This is your first NFL touchdown, and how the vets would come in and like scoop up the balls and like hold them on the sideline for the young kids. And I love that all of that was passed down, and they keep passing it down from generation of new draft classes, because I think that's huge about this team. Like, I think it's so underrated that one of George's most underrated qualities is that he actually runs down the field to like 50 yards, and he's right there when everyone's celebrating the touchdowns, and he's like celebrating harder for his teammates than he does for his own touchdowns at this point. Like, it's crazy the way this offense sticks together. And it's like funny how people just, because national media is saying it, that these people hate each other, they must hate each other. It's like, if you actually watch the sidelines or you watch the game, they don't really hate each other.
Exactly.
So
exactly. Hey, real quick, Melissa, I'm gonna have you hold on to that thought. Let's bring in someone that came in. Javon is coming in. Let's bring him in and say hello. Give me 1 second. Javon, are you there? Hello, Javon. Hold on real quick. Let me see something. I might have to.
You have to mute me. Mute me. That's okay.
No, it has nothing to do with you. Hold on, give me a second. Hello, Javon. Hello.
Hey, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, give me a second. Oh, I know what happened. All right, let's just make it small for now. How you doing, Javon? You muted yourself. You're on mute.
All right, can you hear me all right?
Yes, we can hear you. What's up, brother?
Sorry about that. Yeah, man. I just wanted to talk to you guys about real quick about what's been pretty special with me of being like a 49er fan these past couple of years.
Okay.
And and that is, well, of course, as you know, my name is Javon, and I'm really excited about signing Javon Hargrave, man. I feel like he's going to be a really good addition to this team. I think
Yes,
that
I
he's going to
agree.
be quite a game changer. And another Javon Kinlaw. I mean, I wish he would have panned out a little bit better from here on, but I think that he can still be quite a contribution as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this defense goes. And like I said, a few years of how what's been also special is the center that retired for us, Alex Mack. I just found out that his first name was also Javon, so it was Javon Alexander Mack was his name as well. So I thought that was pretty special to me as well, knowing that that was actually his name, and knowing that we have a retired 49er with the name is pretty cool for me.
There you go. There you go. So, how long you been a Niner fan?
Oh, all my life, man. So my mom is actually from San Jose, and my dad's from Palo Alto, and they've just been 49ers fans, and I just grew up knowing 49ers is the football team we're going to support. So, it's just been it's been quite a whirlwind, is not being really much to support growing up, but until they started with the Kaepernick era is really my first time seeing us, starting to do something there in 2011, 2012. And but yeah, I'm excited for this next season here, especially for how this defense is looking, because I never have any complaints or any concerns with this defense that we've been having. And it seems like it just gets better every year. So looking forward to that. Um, Quarterback situation, I trust. I got a lot of trust in what Purdy can do. I got a lot of trust in what the potential Lance has. So whichever one of those steps on the field is our starter, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. You got to support. I was talking this to Melissa and everybody. Everybody has their favorite player. Everybody has that player they love and they covet. I have Ronnie Lott's jersey on right now. He's one of the greatest that safeties has played for the Niners. And people have Trey Lance. People have Kittle's jersey. And nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the day, me having a 49er tattoo, I have the San Francisco 49ers and not the name of the player. So to me, the name in the front of the jersey is more important than the name in the back. Now, there's nothing wrong with supporting a player, but at the end of the day, whatever player makes my team or helps my team be better and give us a better opportunity to win a championship, that is the guy that I would be rooting for while he's on this team.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people don't like Sam Donald, and I understand why. Javon and Melissa, I understand why they don't like Sam Donald. They have their doubt, their reservations. Why? Because of his history, always turning the ball over, not being accurate, and people don't want to give this guy a chance. But if Geno Smith can turn it around in Seattle under Pete Carroll, as bad as he started, I'm not saying he's going to be the next Trey Lance. I'm not saying he's going to be the starter for the Niners. But what I am saying is, why shit on this guy that he's a Niner? Why wouldn't you want Sam Darnold to play good football for this team while he's here? Why wouldn't you want him to be successful under Kyle? You know, I know people love Trey and they want Trey, and I respect that. But if Sam Darnold can give them a lift and play good football, it doesn't matter if it's Trey Lance or Brock Purdy. I'll support Sam Darnold. It's not about the name in the back; it's about the name in the front. And I think people are so caught up in wanting their favorite player to take the control of the ship, if you will, that they don't want nobody else. So I wanted you to get your thoughts, Javon. If Sam Darnold was the guy to lead this team to a playoffs and a Super Bowl, would you support him? You're muted. I think he's driving. Melissa, you there?
Yes.
Okay, he unmuted himself.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, you cut in and out on that last part. So you said you wanted my thoughts on how if Sam
If Sam
Darnold was the
Darnold
start. Was
was
that
able
it?
to get us to the playoffs and win a Super Bowl, would you support him? Or would you be
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh man, I wish it would have been Trey instead of Sam Darnold?
I, I mean, that would be very shocking to me, just based off of his resume. But I mean, if he was able to do that, then let's go. I wouldn't want it to be like a Nick Foles situation where he wins it and then we ship him out, you know. And like if that's the case, you know, well, let's stick with him.
Okay. You look kind of young, Javon. So I'm assuming that you haven't watched a Super Bowl win since you've been alive. You probably watched the 5 Super Bowls on tape or some type of DVD.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
that's
you?
right.
Right? Okay. So wouldn't you want to celebrate a Super Bowl win in your time, even if we shipped out Sam Darnold afterwards? But at least you got to see the Niners hoist a Lombardi trophy.
Oh yeah, that would be ideal.
So we want to keep Sam
You know,
Darnold if he's the guy. But even if we ship him out like Nick Foles, do you honestly think Philadelphia cares that Nick Foles left? All they care about is that Super Bowl he brought in, right?
yeah, you're right.
So it's because see, I see you there, TL. I'll bring you in a minute. Um, I got to experience all 5 Super Bowls. I went to each Super Bowl and watched it in person. So that was part
Wow.
of something that I experienced. But then I'm older than dirt too. But I got to see all 5 Super Bowls, all 5 parades, and I want to see that same experience for the younger lads like yourself. So I want you guys to experience those feelings of not watching it, because when you watch the 5 Super Bowls for the first time, you already know who won. You're just watching it to see it. But when you get to experience a battle on national TV and your team wins it and you know you won, that to me is the best experience ever. Is finding out that your team just became champions in front of you. Does that make sense?
No, it definitely does. You know, it's like when it happened with the Warriors, it was, you know, it was definitely something different the first time they did it. You know, it's just like you get that feeling like, oh man, this is crazy. And then you got the parade, and then you know, I rewatched those moments like you said, and knowing that I experienced that live, and just being a part of it, just being a part of that moment, it's just it's different, you know. So
Uh,
I'm sure
Absolutely.
if it was to happen here, then that's going to be something I I couldn't describe as any other. I couldn't compare it to anything else.
Exactly. Hey, Jovan, I have another caller coming in. It was nice meeting you. I believe this is your first time me talking with you. You feel free to make sure to subscribe and hit the like button. And you're always welcome to come back whenever I do lives. You're welcome to come back on this chat and talk. And then whenever I do call-ins, feel free to call in, bro. It was a pleasure meeting you. And let's root for the Niners to get you that experience for the first time of winning a Super Bowl, brother. Let's win it for Javon.
Happy to be here, man. Appreciate you having me on. And yeah, I'm always listening to your videos. It's always good to be here. Thanks for
I
having me.
absolutely and looking forward to having you again, my friend. Drive safe.
Have a nice
All
night.
right, you too. Take care.
All right, that was Javon. Let me go ahead and bring in TL. Let me open this up. Hold on, real quick. Two. Let me open
When
this
you say
up.
TL, you mean Taryn Lewis, right?
Yes.
Alright.
Yeah, yes.
I have to get a bit emotional with TL when he comes on.
Oh, really?
Yes.
All right. Let's see here. Let me bring him on a little bit. Give me a second. There we go. All right. So let me put him in number 2. I trust him, so I can bring him on camera. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, what up, brother? What up,
Good.
Izzy?
TL, I don't mean to embarrass you, but I gotta get real with you real quick.
Uh oh.
Okay, I don't
Um,
get embarrassed. It's okay. I don't get embarrassed. Go ahead.
uh, I've been in an emotional wreck for the last week or two. I've seen both of my dogs almost die on me, and one of them still
Mm,
has a big gaping hole in his neck and could literally pass away any minute. And I reached out to Mariah and I was like, I need something, just anything to pull me out of this dark, depressing deep. And she said that she's gonna finally send the cards I want on your show. And I can't tell you how much relief and lightness that brought to my heart. Like
mm,
it's been so hard seeing this being that saved my life in so much pain and not be able to help him. And I had to thank you because I know it's hard on you guys doing that, but it just I wouldn't have asked otherwise. Like it's just been so hard, and like that just that simple kindness just so much to me when I saw her DM on Twitter. So I wanted to thank you.
uh, yeah. So I appreciate that. Like I said, I don't, and I'm trying to. Listening to what you're saying, and there's no way that would embarrass me. But I appreciate your support. I'm glad Mariah, sent the cards out. Got me a little teary eyed a little bit hearing about your dogs because I have dogs as well. And I love my dogs to death. You know what I mean? Do anything for them. So I'm glad that we can make your day. I hope that your dog ends up getting better. You said that he could die any day, but just spend these last few moments with him or her, whatever it is, and just hold him, hold her, whatever, and just remember the good times, just like a family member. You know what I mean? Like I'm probably gonna get teary eyed talking about this, but I'm not comparing my dog to my
Um,
grandmother. I'm not gonna compare my dog to my grandmother, but I remember when my grandmother was passing away, and she told me like, "Look, I know you got." She told me personally because I was in the room with her, and I was actually the one in the room with her last before she passed away.
Mm.
And she just kept. She couldn't even talk. All she couldn't do was hear us, and she would like put her thumbs up when she understood what we were talking about. And I was just like, you know what, Grandma, I'm tired of seeing you looking like this. You can't talk. You can't even get emotional. So whenever it's time for you to go, don't feel bad. Just go ahead and go home. Just go ahead and go home, Grandma. And then 10 minutes later, she passed away. And then even though it was a sad situation, it was one of the best things that I felt like I could do because I felt like I gave her that comfort to say goodbye. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm glad. Like I said, I'm not trying to get all emotional. I know we're trying to talk 49 under football, but yeah, I appreciate that you appreciate us. And like I said, I wish you the best. So
thank you, TL.
No
That's
problem.
awesome. I'm not gonna lie, Melissa. I got nervous because I bring him as a guest, and then you're like, I thought I don't know what you were gonna do or say, and I'm like, oh crap, did it have to be here? You know what I mean? But
No, it's just like you said he was in the chat and then was coming on and it's just like I can't not thank him when he's here. It's just like it's so different when you say it in the chat and it's like you can't really express your feelings. Like sometimes like you say these words and then like people completely take it a different way or they don't know how much heart is in those words. Like they think they're just saying flowery, nice words, and so I had to take advantage of the opportunity when
no, and
the
that
occasion
makes
arrived.
sense
Yeah.
now that I know what you told, which is it's just that I didn't know the unknown, but I also have dogs, and I had to put my dog to sleep 3 years ago. Me and my wife, we have her ashes. We cremated her, and we have her ashes here. And some of my family members are like, one of my brothers, we almost got into a fight because he's like, "Are you stupid? You have your dog's ashes?" I'm like, I just threw my dog in the dumpster when it died, and I'm like,
Wow.
yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, and I shouldn't have done it, but I compared my dog to one of his kids, and it's just that he pissed me off, and as much as I love animals, you don't compare an animal to a human being, but he
Absolutely.
got me at the wrong moment, you know what I mean, but it's like I felt bad for his dog for doing what he did, but our animals are not pets; they're family, and everybody
Absolutely.
views animals different, and that's fine.
Sure.
I respect every aspect. If it's just a pet for you, it's just a pet. But to me, they're part of the family because I know I've heard people that say, "Well, if a dog is sick, I'm not going to take him to the vet," and I'm like, "Is it because the vet's expensive?" I understand. They go, no, I just don't. It's time to get a new one, and I'm like, whoa. And I'm like, if I can be real, don't get another one.
Yeah.
Get yourself a fake
Except a
toy or
fish or
something.
something. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. How you gonna just replace? It's not like you're replacing your stereo, or or lights. It's an animal. So, so I hear you, and then also to y'all, my condolences for your grandma. But you're right. What you did, what you demonstrated to her, is you were thinking about her and not about yourself.
Exactly.
My sister passed away, and I was in the room when she passed away. She passed away at 39. She left 5 kids behind, 5 babies behind, and I held on to her hand and I told her, "I know you're worried about." She was, she wasn't conscious, but I believe she can hear. And I told her, "I understand you're afraid about your kids. What's going to happen to your kids?" And I said, "As long as I'm alive, as long as I'm breathing, do not worry about your kids. I will take care of them." And their dad will take care of them as well. And he was in the room and he reassured her as well. And he's, by the way, has done an excellent job in raising those kids to adults now. My sister passed away in 2004. So it's always hard to lose someone, but you have to put them first because sometimes they don't want to let go. They want to hold on because of the people they might be leaving behind. And sometimes you just, like you said, you told your grandma, go ahead and go, it's okay. And she went right after because she was able to let go because she got that reassurance that everything was going to be okay.
Yeah. Absolutely. And this conversation got deep, man.
Yeah.
But
Didn't it?
yeah,
Thank you,
no, yeah,
Melissa. I'm just kidding.
no. Just one more point
Well,
on
you know
that.
what?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
could go. I could go to the past and fight about TL and how he was so wrong about Creed Humphrey again, if that makes you feel better. I mean,
I
I could go
wasn't.
and bring
I
it
wasn't
to like
wrong. Hold on,
I can
hold on.
bring
I
it to
wasn't
silly.
wrong about him. I wasn't wrong about him. I just wanted to draft
No, but
a
you.
different position. That's all it was. But you're
I
right.
know.
But Izzy, but like a couple drafts ago, matter of fact, it was a year of Aaron Banks. I was drafting Aaron Banks. She kept saying, "I want Creed Humphrey," and I was like, "Yeah." I mean, he's. I was like, "Yeah, he's good," but then I was pushing for Asante Samuel Jr.
Sante Samuel Jr.
And I
like
was like, no, I'd
everybody
rather
else.
draft him. And yeah, and then she was like, Creed Humphrey, but Creed Humphrey's been a great player. And so, yeah, so it's funny.
It's funny. So, Tia, what's on your mind? What's I appreciate, first of all, coming to the show, and I appreciate you jumping on.
Yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
what's on your mind? What do you look forward to going forward? And what battles does it have you intrigued?
Yeah. So I want to go piggyback off of what you were saying earlier to Javon. I totally agree, man. You know, it comes to a point where you have to root for whoever's on this team. Like there can be people who you may prefer, and that's okay. Like you
Hmm.
know, and the quarterback situation I feel like is the most controversy in any team, but it's more controversial for us because we have so much up and down play at the position that people just don't know, like, oh, is this the right thing to do? This the right thing to do? People have their preference where it comes to Brock Purdy, where it comes to Trey Lance. So I get it. Me, I'm a Trey Lance guy. However, I'm realistic because if Brock Purdy is healthy, I feel like he deserved to get to be the week one starter because it's it's one of those things where it's like take away your bias or whatever you want to call it, your heart, and use your brain. You know what I mean? And be like,
Absolutely.
man, Brock Purdy went 7-0 before his injury. 5 seasons, 5 regular games, 2 in the playoffs. You can't just take that from him. You know what I mean? However,
Absolutely.
he got a serious injury. So I don't like the notion when I hear people say, and I've heard people, even some coworkers. I live here in Vegas, and I have people who moved here. There's a lot of Californians here in Vegas who either from LA or from the Bay Area, tons of them. So there's a lot of 49ers fans here. You'll be surprised. And a lot of people, I just don't like the notion of Brock Purdy can't do anything wrong to have the job taken away. But no matter how good Trey Lance looks, he can't get his job back. Like I
No,
don't
that's
like that.
that's not right.
Yeah, that's not right. So they were like, yeah, if Trey Lance, I mean, they were like, if Brock Purdy comes in and, even if he sucks for 2 games, you can't pull him because, he earned, like, no, because like if you're, people don't feel like the leash should be as short. And I was like, I don't agree with that because if Trey has a bad half, people are going to be calling for his head. You know what I'm saying? So,
He
yeah,
could have one
ultimately,
bad play and people will call for his
oh,
head.
oh, for sure, for sure. It'll be like, it'll be the first quarter, and he'll throw, if there's an interception, oh, pull him. We know whatever case may be. And you're right about Sam Darnold too. It's like I get, I get the concerns because it's like, it's one of those things where I get the, it's just it's funny to me though because some fans are, you got some fans that are overly biased that
Yeah.
sit there and be like, oh, now I feel like Sam Darnold is going to be this elite quarterback now that he's with Kyle. You know what I mean? But
Oh
it's like,
yeah.
okay,
No. 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 No.
you have to see it first. You have to see it pan out. And you're right, the Geno Smith situation is awesome. Awesome comparison because the simple fact is nobody's story is written until until they actually retire. Then you can say, was he this, was he that, whatever the case may be. So he's still young. He's only what, like 24, 25.
Yep.
He can still come in and do his thing and have, I mean, look at Rich Gannon for the Raiders.
Yeah.
He didn't come on until late, and then he ended up being an absolute beast his last 3 or 4 years in the season. So you just never know how that's going to pan out. I'm so sick, and like I heard Melissa when I was in the background, it's so exhausting and nauseating just to hear people go back and forth on Twitter, whatever the case may be. I mean, there's grown men who wake up to slander either Brock Purdy in the morning. It's like they wake up, they stretch, they brush their teeth. Let me get on Twitter. Oh, Brock Purdy's a bum. You know what I'm saying? I mean, let's be real here. That's what it happens. That's what happens. People are just so quick to slander these quarterbacks. So I'm rooting for all three of them. I'm rooting for all three. I want Kyle's job
It,
to be hard. You know what I'm saying?
you know,
So
you know, T,
go ahead, Izzy.
TL. It's bad when Twitter isn't even the worst of it anymore. Is these
Mm,
people who go from podcast to podcast to podcast. They don't even listen to what the podcaster or their guests are saying. They keep like putting in like almost all caps their argument for
mhm.
why they're right, and then they just
Yeah,
run away after they like dropped all their like annoying bombs. It's just
for
like
sure. Yeah, Beto.
it's
So I
What's up,
know.
crazy to
Niner
me the
Sickness?
way it's gotten
Uh,
more toxic.
What's up,
yeah, I
sir?
see you have another guest. I won't try to be
No,
too
no, I
long
brought him.
winded.
I brought him
Oh,
on,
okay.
bro. So
Oh, okay. I just
we're
want to be too
making it.
long winded. So,
We're making it a group.
oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Discussion.
So
Okay.
yeah, yeah. I
So
know
yeah.
David as
So
well. So that's why I put him on
oh,
the
okay.
screen.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Perfect. So you asked me about like the training camp battles and stuff. There's three positions in particular that I'm interested in. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with nickel. a nickel position. I feel like Travarius Ward and Delmer Lenore have the outside locked up. You know what I mean? Unless they just do horrible, and which I don't see that happening. But I feel like looking at the nickel, you have Isaiah Oliver, who they signed, who's an excellent tackler. Not really much of a ball hawk, but he makes the right play. You know what I mean? And he doesn't get beat deep too often. Like I said, probably they said one of the best tacklers on the team at nickel. So I'm looking forward to him. You got Samuel Womack, coming into his second year. I saw that Luter, I believe he got hurt.
Yeah.
And I think
He's in the
Ambry
pup
Tom,
list.
yeah, and I think Ambry Thomas, I'm a Wolverines fan, and I hope he can turn it around. He was a third round pick, showed so much promise as a rookie. During the runs, did well against Odell Beckham. When they were playing the Rams, and he did look good. So I don't know what happened to his confidence, whatever. But Steve Wilkes is known to be that DB guru. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully Ambry Thomas, he can turn Ambry Thomas around and play more to his strengths as a man guy because he's not really a zone corner. So that's one thing. The nickel. I'm also obviously it's the quarterback position. I'm looking out for that and want to see if Brock Purdy is going to be cleared. And I put this in the comments before I even came on. I think with Trey Lance, to me, he's overrated as a runner. I feel like he can run, but I feel like he'll be better off script, if that makes sense. Like a Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, when the play breaks down, then he takes over. You don't have to think so much; you just go. I think when you give him the option and all this other stuff, then he has to think too much. I just feel like it's one of those things where you treat Trey Lance like the pocket QB that he is, and give him a similar play calling as a Purdy, as a Jimmy Garoppolo. I feel like he can excel because I'll stand by this. Brock Purdy can't learn to do what Trey Lance can do, but Trey Lance can learn to do what Brock Purdy can do, the short to intermediate
Absolutely.
throws. You know what I'm saying? So I just want him to get the. I'm not going to sit here and say he hasn't got a fair shot because he has. He was a starter last year, unfortunately got hurt. I just want him to be quarterback and not giving him 13 runs a game. That's too many. If your starting quarterback has more runs than your backup running back, that's too many. I'm sorry. So yeah, so that's another thing. And the third thing I'm looking for, I would say, Aziz Al Shire, his position. Who's gonna step into that starting role, whether it's Demetrius Flanagan Foles, you got
The
Marcelino McCurry
beeline too.
Ball. Yeah, they have Marcelino McCurry Ball. There's so much,
That's on
that
the
can
phone.
happen there for the thing. And then obviously right tackle, can Colton McKivitz step up and be that guy who they think he can be, because we didn't draft one early. We didn't pick one up in free agency. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were picking up dudes who were like serviceable. So I hope Colton McKivitz is who they think he is. I used to kind of, I was irritated the year before because when we lost Lake and Tomlinson, I thought we were going to be in trouble because up to this point we haven't really developed offensive linemen. You know what I'm saying? It's all because either a trade or we brought him in a free agency, like somebody said, Alex Mack, Trent Williams. Who was the other center that couldn't stay healthy that we got from the Giants a few years ago? Weston Richburg.
Don't bring
Yeah.
You
up.
know what I'm saying? Yeah,
No,
Weston
you
Yeah, don't
Richburg,
bring
can't
him
Lake,
do
and
up.
yeah.
it.
Well, I mean,
No,
it's
no,
true. Like,
no,
like they
no.
always that was the only time they really had good veterans who came in and helped out the offensive line. But last year showed the development process with Banks. What's that? The guy's name? The Triple B's.
Burford.
Spencer Burford, and then Jake Brendel. So the Triple B's. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So we did a great job. So I'm giving them hopes, and I have high hopes for Colton McKivitz to step up and do his thing. And after this, I'll let somebody else talk. And then the free safety position to me is intriguing. When we drafted Jair Brown, I looked at his film because, like I said, I'm a Michigan fan, so I watch a lot of Big Ten football. So I see the Ohio States, the Penn State, stuff like that. Jair Brown, the way he moves all over the field, he can play both safety spots, play on the line of scrimmage. He can blitz, tackles very well. He reminds me of Tyrann Mathieu 2.0. He's another honey badger, in my opinion. He plays so similar. Not saying he'll be as good, but I feel like he has that capability. And the man had 5 interceptions too. So yeah, I think Jair Brown sooner than later. I still think Deshaun Gibson starts, but I think Jair Brown will ultimately get that starting job come midseason because I feel like he's that good. I feel like we stole him in the third round. He shouldn't even have been there, to be honest. So yeah, those are all my takes. Come training camp, I know we have it in 3 days. It's going to be very interesting. I'm not going to be able to make it out this year, but yeah, I feel like it's a lot of competition, and having great competition is always an amazing thing. So
Absolutely. Whenever you can push, I'm a firm believer. Iron sharpens iron. When you push someone to greatness, I perfect example. Aaron Rodgers, prior to Jordan Love being drafted, I'm not saying Jordan Love is going to be at any level like Rodgers, but Rodgers knew he was the guy. He knew nobody was behind him, so he kind of just slacked off, and he was having a bad year. And then you draft Jordan Love in the first round, and next thing you know, freaking Aaron Rodgers is MVP back to back years after Jordan. Why? Because that fire, he might not publicly said anything, but the evidence in the pudding, right? He played better because he was like, oh hell no, you drafted a quarterback, you ain't so that competition always helps a player whether they want to admit it or not. And I love competition at any position.
yes,
So with Brock and Trey, this is an NFL. You earn everything. It's a privilege to play in the NFL. Nothing is owed to you, and nothing can be retained. You have to continue to work to try to keep the status that you have. So Brock has demonstrated that he's played well in those 5 games in the regular season and the 2 games in the playoffs, enough to Kyle to be impressed. Now, it's up to Trey to show Kyle, hey, don't forget about me, the guy that you gave up 3 number ones to go and get. Let me show you what I can do. And so it's just a matter of Brock pushing Trey and Trey pushing Brock. And in the same token, if Sam Donald somehow gets caught in the middle, I'm with you, TL. I'm not overlooking Sam Donald. I'm not saying he can't become somebody, but I'm not going to crown him as a savior either, based on his history. Out of all the 3 guys, he needs to show it the most, because people always said that you can get credit if you have bad credit than no credit, because at least with bad credit they know who you are, you exist, right? So we know Sam Donald, he exists in a sense of all the years that he played. We know he's bad, but we know what he can do good as well. So let the competition be there. I'm looking forward to it. People may think that having Trey Lance and having Brock Purdy, it might be a bad thing for us. I think it's a positive thing. I think it's a good thing because they're pushing each other. And somebody had mentioned, I forgot who I was listening to, but they're like, I think it was Ted from TED Talks Ball. He says, we might, instead of worrying about having one franchise quarterback, we might have 2, and Trey and Brock. And that's a good thing to have. Real quick, I just want to introduce Mr. David Corona that is to my side. And on the bottom of TL, we got Steve-O in the house. And then in the shadows, lurking, we got Melissa in the background. She don't like to show her face, so I don't bring her on camera. But we have her lurking in the background. I appreciate all you gentlemen popping in, man, and making the party funner. Real quick, Mr. David Corona, how excited are you about the training camp coming in 3 days? And which position are you looking forward in seeing competition at the best?
Man, yeah, I can't wait for the training camp or the season to start. And my take is probably the tight ends or D line. See how those guys do. Oh, and the rookies wide receivers. See how they do. And yeah, everybody's gonna have a big role this year, and we're gonna go all the way to the Super Bowl in Vegas. And
I love it. I love it.
and this time we have to win it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no shit, huh? Getting
And
there is not good enough.
yeah,
Because
exactly.
winning it
So
is what matters.
yeah, so I think if Brock Purdy stay healthy last year, I think we could beat Patrick Mahomes. I I had a big feeling we could, but yeah, he got injured, so we didn't have no quarterback, so we couldn't move on. So but this year, mark my word, we will go to the Super Bowl and we will win it. And we'll be in Vegas and we'll be holding that trophy up for the 6th time.
I like it. I like
Yep.
it. I was
I loved
talking
it.
to Javon
Loved it.
earlier, and I was telling him that he hasn't experienced a Super Bowl, and he was first time, because we were talking about the quarterback situation. He said he didn't want Sam Darnold to be one that if let's say we won with Sam Darnold, that we would get rid of him like Nick Foles. And I told him, hey, do you think the Philadelphia cares where Nick Foles went? All they know is they got the hardware to show for it that season. I'm pretty sure, other than Trey or Brock, if Sam Darnold, for whatever reason, let's say both of them get hurt, he comes in and wins the championship. And if he moves on to go to another team, I don't think no Niner fan would be truly upset if we get that trophy, especially the younger ones that have not experienced the excitement of winning. Like I mentioned to him, when people watch the Super Bowls that are past, you watch it because you've never seen them before, those that haven't seen it, but you already know the outcome, right? You already know who won, obviously. It's no other feeling like watching a game on prime time, being close, and you don't know who's going to win it, and then your team winning it at the end and becoming that champion. That experience is like no other. And I got blessed to experience that 5 times, and I want these young lads to experience the same. So hopefully this will be the year that the Niners can get over the hump, because I'm not big in the window. Our window big or small? But I do know that that salary cap at one point or another comes calling. They're like taxes. You can't forget about them because they'll come and bite you in the ass.
And I got one more thing. And after they say, everybody's saying Trey Lance is the bust, right? After
That's
he wins that
stupid.
Super Bowl, what are they gonna say next? Is he still a bust? No, he's not.
Yeah,
He's
it's
a
premature to say he's a bust, just like it's premature to say that Brock Purdy is a Hall of Famer. They need,
exactly.
they haven't done enough. Either one of them. One has done more
Nope.
than the other, but not enough to crown one a bust and crown another Hall of Famer. You got to let it play out, man. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, you got to let a player play out at least 3 years, solid play, to kind of get a good indication of what that player is going to be. Maybe in the second year, you kind of start getting a feeling which direction that player may go, but you're never certain until that third year in. The first year, they always struggle, try to figure out the system, trying to get adapted to the whole NFL. Second year, they start feeling a little bit more comfortable. And then to me, the third year is when they excel, if that's within their capabilities. I just want to say hello to Dion that just came into the house. What's up, Dion? Welcome, my friend. Real quick, I just want to bring in Steve-O in the house real quick. Steve-O, thank you for joining in and calling in, my friend. Real quick, what's your thoughts on the whole preseason game? Are you glad that we finally will have something to talk about other than quarterbacks and chewing each other's feet off and on Twitter, that we can actually talk about something that has meaning, like practices that count?
We won't. We'll still talk about the same thing. And let me tell you why. Well, first, let me answer the subject as far as I'm looking to see Brown, what he can do, because I'm sure we'll run more 3 deep safeties, being that we lost Ward. But I think we got more depth at the D line, the defense. I would like to see the tight end 2 get so let's say Kittle gets 800 yards. I'd like to see the tight end 2 get 400 yards and five TDs. Add another weapon to the offense, because one of them's gonna go down eventually. You know what I mean? At least. So I would like to see. I don't know what stream he's on, but I think he disappeared. But yeah, I would like to see another tight end, add another weapon.
I'll come on
no matter who it is. I mean, that would be cool to. You know what I mean? One of those guys step up and have a good rookie year.
This is called hitting the wrong camera, bro.
What stream are you?
That's a good point,
I clicked on the wrong camera. I said I was getting rid of David for a second. I got rid of myself. I'm like, oop, that wasn't planned. I'm using Ecamm. Ecamm is It's like I'm trying to think of that one for like iOS or I whatever it's called. Not iOS. OBS. I think for Ecamm is you do everything yourself. You have to write it. You have to do everything yourself. It does. It's not like StreamYard or Restream where it has all the platforms ready for you. You can do whatever you want. Like with you, I can make you tall, big, small, wide. So, and I can put you pretty much anywhere I want, and I have more control of my guests. I have more control of my front. So I prefer Ecamm, but the unfortunate part, it's only for Apple. It's not for PC. So if you're not an Apple owner, people can't get this. It's cheaper also than you can do more, and it's cheaper. It's only $24, and you can go 4K. I know StreamYard. You start going into 1080p, it starts getting more expensive. And a lot of people stay at 720. I just don't like limitations, so I like to be free. So I chose Ecamm for that. But yeah,
And
but it's not easy to run.
I got one more take. Hargrave's gonna help us out big time with Nick Bosa on the other side. He's gonna be a side of Nick Bosa and Hargrave and Nick Bosa. They're gonna be getting sacks all year. I think Nick Bosa will get like 22 to break the record, and I think Hargrave will get I say 15 to 16 sacks.
You you know it's funny that
What?
you said yeah. I think I'm
15 to
kind of the
16 sacks. Hargrave.
I'm a little opposite. I don't think Nick Bosa is going to get as many sacks people think that he is. Not because he's signing his contract and he's going to be. No, I think with the addition of Hargrave, people think that that's going to make Bosa have 20. I think it's Hargrave is the beneficiary of the two for this season coming up. I think they're still going to focus more on Bosa than they are in Hargrave, and I think Hargrave may have more sacks coming in. But that's just my thought. But 11, I don't know how many sacks did you say Hargrave's going
He
to have?
said
That's
15 or
literally,
he said 15 to 16. He said.
yeah, bro. Listen,
Yep.
I'm not trying to saying it, bring it down or whatever, but I don't know if you ever play football, but I play D tackle. You know how hard it is. You know how hard it is to get sacks from the inside. It's so much
Tough.
easier on the outside than it is from the inside to get a sack. Now, if he gets those amount of sacks, hey, shit, yeah, I'm with you. I'll be fired up. But yeah, if he gets 10, I'm happy. To be honest with
Yeah.
you.
I want to. That's some good points, Steve. I want to say first about the tight end position. You're right, and that's one thing that's kind of overlooked because we have such an amazing starter in Kittle. But I want a old school situation like we had with like Vernon Davis and Delaney Walker, where we
Oh
had
yeah.
two dynamic tight ends where you just don't know, well, you don't know who to guard and it just makes the defense life miserable. I thought we might have had it with when we signed Jordan Reed that one year. Remember when we had Jordan Reed from
He was
from
there
the
earlier.
from the Redskins, and then but he ended up getting hurt. Kittle got hurt, but yeah, if we can bring if somebody can step up like Cameron Latu or the other guy we got from Oklahoma, Braden, whatever his name is, I
Braden
can't remember his
Willis.
name. Braden Willis, yeah.
Willis.
If one of those two can step up and give us like a nice 1-2 tandem, that would be awesome. Because yeah, we haven't seen a dynamic two tight end set since Delaney Walker and Vernon Davis. So if we get something similar to that, that would be awesome. And to go off of Javon Hargrave, I think people when I look at Javon Hargrave, I see him giving us the DeForest Buckner effect. When he
Mm.
adding him to this line, he's the second known commodity after Bosa. Like they've both been all pros, Pro Bowlers. So I believe that, and I hope he does, Steve. If he gets 15 sacks, that's unheard of.
Yeah.
But
I
for
didn't,
a D tackle,
I didn't say
however,
that.
if it happens, but you guys remember though when we had DeForest Buckner when we went to Super Bowl year, it let Eric Armstead eat. Because I feel like what's going to happen now, because I feel like the starters are going to be Drake Jackson, Hargrave, Armstead, and Bosa, right? So I feel like you look at that D line, I feel like Bosa and Hargrave are going to get or command the double teams, and I think it's going to free up Eric Armstead and Drake Jackson to do their thing. So I kind of
Yeah,
agree with
for sure.
yeah. So I kind of think that Bosa, yeah, he'll get his. I think he's gonna be. I think he's the one who's gonna be between the 15-16 range. But you guys remember before DeForest Buckner left, when Eric Armstead was next to him that year, the Super Bowl year, Eric Armstead had 10 sacks. So it's not out of the realm for Javon Hargrave to get his 15. You know what I'm saying? If he just goes in there and just dominates. But like you said though, getting it from the outside is easier because you can do your swim moves, to hit the edge, and you're running free once you take away that tackle, unless you're putting a tight end on there. But on the inside, it's usually harder because you got the center in there and both guards that are taking out the tackles. That's why you always get more sacks from the edges. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I feel like Javon Hargrave is our new DeForest Buckner. I'm thinking maybe 8 sacks, to be honest, from Hargrave, just because he's going to get a lot of double teams. But like I said, Drake Jackson is going to get freed up, and if he can be who we think he is, he can get 10. You got Armstead getting 8 to 10, Hargrave getting 8 to 10, and if Bosa gets 15 to 16. That's amazing. And don't sleep
Yeah.
on. I don't know
Jackson,
if it was
Jackson,
Steve or yeah, I don't know if it was Steve or Daniel, whoever said it, but Jair Brown
Corona,
being in
Corona.
It
there.
was David Corona.
Corona. Okay, yeah. So yeah, if you sit there and you say Jair Brown, he's excellent on the blitz. So on third downs, if he comes in and he's a threat too, you get him about 2 to 3 sacks. It's no holds barred. I don't know if you guys are old enough to if you guys we watched that movie back in the day, but it's no holds barred, man.
No,
It's
I'm
gonna
too
be
young. I'm too young to know what that is, bro.
these offensive linemen
It's
are
not,
these
that's not
offensive linemen are
funny.
gonna hit them. Yeah, so yeah, I agree with you, Steve. Oh yeah, I hope one of these tight ends do step up. Latu was great in the red zone though.
Yes.
Great in the red zone.
Yes. Yes.
And so if we have a good tight end, we don't, George Kittle don't have to play all the time. So like he could come in and out, and get some rest, and the let the rookie come in and show him what he could do, and hopefully George Kittle don't miss no games this year.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, you know, talking, referencing what TL said about DeForest Buckner. If you guys remember when he was here in 2019, we had the young Buck Bosa, first rookie year. We had D Ford playing, healthy games in the beginning, and Eric Armstead was a participant that was able to take advantage of that line, where he had his most sacks, which was, I believe, 10, because of the surrounding cast around him. When it comes to the run, this is my opinion only. He's a great this guy. I think Eric Armstead is underrated a lot. A lot of people, socialize. Well, he doesn't get all the sacks. He's not the big name out there. But if you watch 22 film on this kid, you see the work that he puts in. You see how he breaks down and pushes that line in the middle. But when you bring surrounding cast around him, like a DeForest Buckner, a D Ford, and he is able to play better, and now bringing in Hargrave and replacement of Buckner, and then hopefully Drake Jackson can get some speed out of that side like D Ford. We already know what Nick Bosa is going to do. That's going to elevate Armstead, because as an offensive coordinator and offensive line, who do you double cover? Who do you leave open? Because whoever you leave on one-on-ones, guess what? That individual has an opportunity to get to your quarterback. And if you got that front in the middle pushing in, that quarterback has no choice but to run to the outside. And then there's going to be Bosa or Jackson waiting. Or, I don't know. I want you to get your thoughts on this. I'm a big Clemson fan. Go Tigers. Kellen Farrell was brought over from the Raiders. He was a high draft pick. I think he went a bit higher than what he should have, in my opinion. But I watched a lot of him in college. He went to a bad defensive situation with the Raiders. They misused him, in my opinion. They used him more as a linebacker to cover tight ends and running backs. When this kid excels as a pure rusher, hands on the dirt, pin your ears back and go after the quarterback. This is where Chris Casera is going to use him at. I think this kid can be very special in this defense, specifically as a rotating with Jackson. And Jackson, I believe Jackson needs to be on his heels because this guy, Farrell, is not going to be too far behind pushing him. And I love that. I love that rotation on that side. Farrell is way better, in my opinion, than the kid that left last year. What was his name? The one that came from Houston? Amenahue. I think he's a better player and athlete than Amenahue. Personally, I think he was just misused with the Raiders. Look at the other kid that we had prior to Amenahue. They came from the Raiders. He was bad there. And Arden Key from LSU, yeah. He was terrible with the Raiders, had his best year and got paid because of his production under Chris Casera. I think Farrell's going to be great. I want to get your thoughts, and I'm going to start with TL. Well, let me start with Melissa and then TL. Then we'll go with David, and then we'll finish it with my boy Steve. I want your thoughts on Farrell. How do you think he'll do under Chris Casera and this year as a 49er?
I don't know about the player, but I do believe in Chris Casera more than anything on this whole entire organization. I mean, people swore that Kerry Hyder was going to be a bust, Gordon Willis was going to be a bust, Kevin Givens going to be a starter in 2020, and somehow, some like Chris Casera just can get into anyone's head and make them fight tooth and nail for him. And so, if it's up to Casera, I believe he can get the most out of the player.
Yeah.
I love it.
All facts.
Yep.
I'm gonna same mindset as Melissa. I mean, it's funny. You look at our positional coaches on defense. We arguably have the best at every position. Best D line coach. Got
Yes,
Johnny
sir.
Holland. Got Johnny Holland. He developed them
Linebacker.
linebackers tremendously, and then you got Steve Wilkes now. So, yeah, I agree with Melissa. You know, you look at Arden Key, look at Charles Omenihu. They all came here and had career years. And then you got Kerry Hyder, 2-3 years ago, came in and had 8.5 sacks, and nobody even really knew who he was. You know what I'm saying? Like, who's this
Yeah.
Kerry Hyder dude? And I think that Cleveland Farrell is more talented than all three of those guys, and Key, Amenahue, and Hyder. You know, he was a top 5 pick. Everybody laughed at the Raiders, and you're right. He went to a bad situation. So yeah, I think Drake Jackson ultimately gets the start, but he can't be comfortable, like you said, because I think Cleveland Farrell's going to be on his heels, like, from day one. So yeah, it's a great problem to have. So I believe that Cleveland Farrell will probably come off the bench in situations and maybe get himself like 6 or 7 sacks, look good, and then he's on a 1-year deal. He'll probably do like every other lineman. He'll go out there 6, 7 sacks, and then he'll leave and he'll get paid somewhere else. So
And not do as good. Hopefully he
sure.
will.
Yeah.
But I'm biased. I'm sorry. I'm a Niner fan. You're only allowed to do good when you're wearing the red and gold. Anywhere else, especially if you go to the Cowboys, then you deserve not to play good at all. Charles Haley. But I'm so sore. But your thoughts? Are you done? I'm sorry, TL.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay.
Go ahead and go to Corona. Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure I didn't jump the gun. Corona, what's your thoughts on this kid, Farrell, coming out of from the
Yeah,
Raiders?
I think she said like I want to say Melissa and the other what's your name? What's his name? The other
Just call
guy?
me T. Just call me
Oh,
TL,
TL.
bro.
Oh,
My name's
TL.
Taryn.
Yeah.
My name's Taryn, but you can call me TL.
Oh, okay.
He's
The
famous.
same
He's in
thing.
movies and stuff.
He said, and yeah, I got too much to say. They already said what I want to say, but he's gonna be a good guy, and he's gonna be right behind Jackson. Jackson better be ready, step up, because he's on his tail. So yeah, that's what I got.
Love it. What about you, Steve-O?
Yeah, I don't know much about him. I don't watch a lot of Raiders games. I just keep hearing that he was drafted higher than he should have been, and it's all about where you're drafted. Who knows what Aaron Rodgers would have been if we drafted him. So he was my least favorite addition to the team. I'll just say I don't have any expectations.
Yeah. I think he'll be great. There's somebody calling in, and I'm gonna be shutting. I think. Oh my goodness, my wife gets she laughs at me. I tell her she went to go get dinner, and I'm like, she's like, how long are you gonna be? Probably 45 minutes to an hour. She's like 2 hours, right? Oh no, I'll keep it for an hour. I just looked up to a minute after 2 hours. So I'm gonna be winding down. She probably already ate without me, which is fine. But time goes fast when you're having fun. I wish this is the case when you're working at work and you want to go home and it's just, I don't know about you guys, but it's like forever to and real quick, guys, I just want to thank Melissa for popping in. I want to thank TL for showing up. Appreciate you, man. David Corona and
Yeah,
Mr.
for sure, man. Thank you for
Stevo
having me.
coming in, bro. You guys are always welcome. I'm going to be doing this every Monday, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Pacific. So if you guys are ever available, they're always going to be call-in shows like this on those 3 days. So if you guys are not doing anything, you just want to talk, my shows will be available at 8 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. With that, guys, I'm going to call it a night. Melissa, thank you for stopping by. TL, Stevo, and Mr. Corona. I didn't say Cordova. See, I said Corona. I keep calling the other day Cordova, and I don't know why. I screw up with Bash too. I call Bash
Now you got John Jay saying that name.
Cordova. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness! No, it was no bad intentions. It's just it wasn't intentional, bro. I just got to get it right.
Yeah, no worries, man.
I know I upset at Bash one time. I said Bashar, I call him Baluch. He's like, I am not a Baluch. I'm sorry. It's the Mexican in me. I'm confused. All right, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Niner Sickness podcast. I appreciate each and every one of you. You guys have a wonderful night. TL, I appreciate you, brother. You have a wonderful night, and we'll see you next time. Good night, sir. I'll be dismissing one by one. David, good night. I appreciate having you in here. Mr. Stevo, once again, thank you. Have a wonderful night. And my girl, Melissa, my little sis, love you, girl. Thank you for hanging out with Big Brother. Truly appreciate you. You have a wonderful, wonderful night. I'm keeping your beautiful doggy in prayer. And let's hold on to positive thoughts. And
You tell the wife happy birthday for me.
and I will do that as well. You take care, girl. Love you.
Love you too.
All right. Bye. That was Melissa. Appreciate it. And everybody in the chat that tuned in tonight. I just want to say thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being part of the channel. I went a little longer than I normally go. I got to learn how to keep this to an hour. Otherwise, my wife is going to take away the privileges of me going live. So with that said, good night. God bless. And we'll see you on the next podcast. Peace.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.